Now, John, not his real name, was just a boy when his own father sold him to 3 boat owners on Lake Volta. His masters forced him to engage in hazardous fishing activities, but he managed to escape and is now in class 6 and already on the path to becoming a professional footballer as he hopes to represent Ghana at the World Cup. Maxwell Agbaba went to visit him in an island community in the northern region, and I report.
I am in a canoe heading to an island community in the northern region to meet John and his mother. When John was a boy, his father took him from their family house at Dodowa and trafficked him to a fishing community called Esuoso, close to Hausa Kope in the Pru district. His father allegedly took money from 3 boat owners. His mother tells me John's father came for him under the guise of getting him to start school, but rather sold him to some fishermen on Lake Volta.
About 4 months ago, I heard my son was engaged in dangerous fishing activities on Lake Volta. I cried. I was determined to find him. I really suffered to take care of him. I sold some of my personal possessions just to take care of him. I bumped into my son at Yeji. It was unexpected, and I am grateful to God. He became very sick. He was beaten by the boatmasters, and that affected his health. They beat him with their paddles when he's unable to dive into the water to untangle a net. My boy, he was always crying and complaining of waist pains and his abdomen. I couldn't eat.
I'm now at John's school on the island where a class is in session in a dilapidated structure made of mud. Now, John no longer has to go fishing during school hours. He says he's determined to complete his education and pursue a career in professional football and hopefully represent Ghana at the World Cup. He's optimistic he will make enough money to build a new school to replace the rundown structure in his community.
I'm from Casimiro. We were from FC.
On the field, my friends call me Casimiro. I play for Familia FC. I'll develop the community and provide them with electricity and a better school building. I know I can do it. Our school building is dilapidated and we are unable to do proper studies yet. When the sun starts shining, we have to close.
The head teacher here at John's school says all attempts to get authorities to fix the dilapidated school structure have proven futile. He's hopeful John, whom he describes as generous, will help change the story of the community.
He's kind. He's good to us. When we talk about football aspect, he's one of our key players in the school. And he also shows due respect to the teachers.
I think the issue of child trafficking has been a worrying situation to almost all.
I've now met Godwin Awudi. He's assembly member for the Yeji Traditional Council electoral area. 31 children were rescued at the Yeji in the first quarter of 2021. His assembly is working hard to ensure more children are rescued from fishermen and boat owners who are using them for hazardous work on Lake Volta.
Oh yeah, a lot of stories have come up. You know, our place happened to be a fishing community. And of course, when you have a fishing community, you should be thinking of trafficking. Our place here happened to be a destination. You know, in terms of child trafficking, we have the source community and then the destination community. Yeji, as it stands now, is noted as a destination community. So there have been issues of child trafficking in the area. We need to distinguish trafficking and labor in these regards. You know, trafficking has to do with exchanging the child for a fee. That is, when there is a payment, maybe the child is going to work for some number of years, and then whoever is giving the child out is going to receive an amount. Then you have an issue of trafficking. So when there is a transport, then you have issue of trafficking. Now with the labor, we are talking about what type of work the child does. So if the child is doing the work that does not suit the age, then we are referring to labor. Of course, if you look at these distinguished features of labor and trafficking, yes, along the area here, we may come across some of those issues because we are in a fishing community. In a fishing community, you know, most of the time people use the children to do fishing. I must say, before the sensitization programs, a lot of people are actually ignorant about the whole issue. That is why when you meet somebody who is involved in this, he asks you, oh, what if I'm using my own child to work? So it means such a person, they might not be trafficking, but there might be labor.
John's story today is a far cry from his early years when he was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, behavior disorder, and severe malnutrition. Regular psychological counseling and a nutritionist at Tamale Teaching Hospital have helped to turn his life around. His story mirrors what many children continue to face on Lake Volta.
Well, Leo Akon is the public campaign against human trafficking, and he joins us on Zoom with more. Leo, grateful that you could join us. Will you agree with me that this strategy is directly from the playbook of the traffickers? Many of them first come promising your child's education will be looked at, and then end up selling them to boat masters who use them for hazardous fishing activities. What are other plans do they use, and what are some of the red flags we should be looking out for?
I think that what you just highlighted is exactly what they do, and basically the story we just watched and listened to basically depicts many of the tricks that boat masters actually use in exploiting children on the Volta Lake. And I think that for the red flags, the Human Trafficking Act makes us clear what constitutes trafficking and what really goes into what it means for somebody to be trafficked. And basically the harboring and exploitation of children clearly is one of the main things that you would see that these boat masters use in exploiting children. And the promises of taking these kids to school under the guise of they helping the parent to care for the child is often what they use. So many a time there is a deliberate intention. Many of the boat masters are aware, and they use these deliberate intentions under the guise of helping these children and then get to traffic them. The second thing is that many a time some of these parents are aware, they deliberately sell off their children to these boat masters for the purpose of getting money from them. So I would say that there is deception, but also in many cases also this is from consent from parents who basically sell off their children to boat masters.
Okay. Now, as you heard from the assembly member of VAG electoral area there, some people are ignorant about when they have crossed into the red line of trafficking and child labor. Can you share with us the point at which it becomes trafficking and child labor?
Yeah, like I said earlier on, the law is very clear that once there is the recruitment, there is harboring, there is transportation of an individual, of a child, for the purposes of exploitation, that is an offense, that is a criminal offense, that is child trafficking. So the law is very clear. The Human Trafficking Act of 2005 is very clear on this. Now, many boat masters, when they are caught or when they are arrested by the police, feign ignorance, and that's true. But if you look at the dynamics, you would realize that many of them are actually aware that what you're doing is a crime. And I can give you an example. We did some work with the Yeji Police and Yeji Social Welfare in Yeji somewhere 2019, where over 900 fishermen and fishmongers gathered together for them to be sensitized on the dangers of child trafficking and what elements are. And I can tell you that out of these 900 boatmasters and fishmongers that participated, all of them were educated. Now, they were given an opportunity to surrender. They were given an opportunity to stop the act of exploiting children. And I can tell you that none of them owned up. So the point is that they are very much aware. But from that time, 2019, many of these same people that participated in this sensitization training have been arrested by the police for engaging in the same exploitation of children that originally they were given the opportunity to surrender children that they didn't. So it's just a way of getting around the law. It's just a way of being able to escape from prosecution, and that's why I say they are ignorant about their actions. Many of them, I can tell you that many of them are very much, because a lot of sensitization has been done, and aside that, the dynamics has also changed in the lake, where many of them have moved their way into inter areas where it is very difficult to actually see them. And because they know that the police is coming after them, they're not going to places which are very difficult to reach, especially for police officers. So they are aware, and so their modus operandi are changing as well, day in and day out.
Can we say we are winning? If not, what is accounting for our inability to win this fight? And what must change about our effort for us to win this fight against child trafficking on the Volta Lake?
I would say that Ghana as a country, we are making a lot of effort. Our efforts over the years, there's been a lot of progress with regards to our efforts. And if you look at the TIP report, which is the Trafficking in Persons report that was released this year, the 2022 report, it states that about 727 victims were rescued in the year 2021, as compared to what the numbers are in the year 2020. Just about 391 were rescued. So you could see an improvement from the year 2021 and 2020. You can see that improvement. Now in 2022 as well, the budget, there's been an improvement in terms of the amount that was allocated into the Human Trafficking Act, into the Human Trafficking Fund. Although that amount is woefully inadequate, which is 2 million, it doubled from 1 million in the year before to 2 million in 2022, which is an improvement. So this is just to say that we are making some progress. There is a lot of progress being made at this level, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. I can give you an example. For instance, Ghana only has one adult shelter for victims of human trafficking, which is woefully inadequate. In terms of shelters for children who have survived human trafficking, is very woefully inadequate. It's the government's own shelter. I can't really care for many children, and it's just based here in Accra. If you go to other parts of the countries, we don't have enough shelters. But I believe that we need to really put where the resources are needed. If you go to the many districts, the local areas, the social welfare department are very much in the resource. The police in those areas are also very much in the resource. So I think that there's a lot more we can do, and we can end this problem if we really put all our acts together.
All right. Leo Akon, I'm grateful that you could join us. He is a campaigner against China.